Hey, everybody. All right. Welcome to another week of LIS 401. This week, we are going to be talking about the history and evolution of the profession. So, this week, it's always true. And I say this in the email, I believe, that you'll get this week. More than any other week, I hope you see that what we talk about is it's just a piece. It's just a small piece. We only have 1 week. There's so much more that we can be talking about. There's so much more to the history of the profession. There's always more. There's always more topics. There are always more things to discuss. There's always more to learn. And so this week, more than other weeks, I hope that you plan to spend the rest of your career kind of out there searching for other information and other ideas. So I'm really interested in how libraries develop. I like the idea of, the public libraries developing and being special and being wonderful. Because, again, I've said we're a wonderful profession, but because libraries do provide such needed services, and it doesn't matter where you are across the profession. It doesn't matter who you're working with, who your community is. The work that you do is important, and it really matters a lot. So you want to make sure that is, has a good foundation, has a good base, and maybe you understand some of the things of where we've come from and where we can go to in the future. LIS is wonderful. Libraries are wonderful. It's not true every day. It's not true every place. It has definitely not been true everywhere. So the fact that we're probably not going to spend an enormous amount of time talking about like racial inequities across the profession, how that has historically been part of LIS. Please know that it is very true. I will give you a little bit more information about that as we kind of go through, but know that that's part of it. Know that we should be doing better. We should have been better all along. We should be better today. I hope we're better tomorrow. That's you. I hope you are better tomorrow. I hope you provide better equity. I do think understanding some of the history of where your library has been, where your profession has been, it does help to give you kind of that foundation. So when you know that, for example, libraries in different states across the southern US during, the 40s, 50s, 60s, were not open to African-American people. I mean, this is clearly crap. But it was definitely true. It definitely happened. Things like that continue to happen across the profession. It doesn't mean that everything across the profession, though, has been bad. We have done a lot of other really wonderful things. Let's keep building. Let's keep trying to do more wonderful things. I first got my interest in library history when Simmons gave me this very nice grant to drive across the country. I spent the summer in my little Jeep driving across the country and camping. Shh, don't tell my boss. She's gone now, but I really just wanted to camp for the summer. But I visited every public library across the Lewis and Clark Trail, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see the range of possibilities. And it was very interesting to start hearing from some of these communities about the things that were important to them in their history. And different places were more inclusive of different ideas. So, I mean, as you know, the library profession, it's pretty white and it's pretty chick. And a lot of us are middle-aged and old females. Okay. So that is what our history has been. Again, think about where we could go from there. It started with some nice ideas. So when you're talking about libraries, especially public libraries that are out west, a lot of them started because women were trapped at home. And I mean trapped at home with no TV, no internet, no phones, while men are out like doing difficult things, but off having a good time while the little woman is trapped at home with 8 kids. That sounds awful. And so they wanted to make their lives a little bit better, and they wanted to be sure that their kids were going to have good lives. And so Western libraries in the US tended to start from these women who said, I got to get out of the house. I got to read a book. I got to have something to do. And so they got together and they started these libraries. I'm generalizing. Please understand I'm generalizing on this. Eastern libraries tended to be started by, again, kind of middle-aged women who wanted to do good things and could have done better good things. But they wanted to give a place to the poors and to people who they felt were, maybe immigrants or poor and uneducated and didn't know the important stuff. And so they wanted to have a place where the good books could be found, and they would share good books with everybody. I mean, almost, almost so close. I'm so close to really appreciating that. I hope that today that you don't work in libraries where this does still exist. I hope you don't go to work in a library that feels like only good books should be shared. We don't have graphic novels and video games in our library. Ick. Please don't be that kind of librarian. That'd be super. Thanks. I take that as a personal favor. And that idea, though, that this was a kind of just something that, women did because they're not that important, that persisted in the US. And again, I'm generalizing. You're going to get more detail in your longer lecture here down below. But that general idea persisted in the US until Andrew Carnegie came along. And again, 2 thumbs up to the idea that Andrew Carnegie said, hey, I have a boatload of money. I should give some of this away. And he liked libraries. And so he started building libraries all across the country and in other countries around the world. 2 thumbs up. Gotta love it. If you've never been to a Carnegie library, just Google. There are a bunch of them out there still. Several of them are still being used as libraries. You'll find one. But at that point then, the grants that the Carnegie Foundation gave to a city, cities had to apply for it, and they had to meet very specific needs. They had to make very specific guarantees. I know I talked to one library who said that they refused their Carnegie library because they wanted to have a turret, and Carnegie would not allow a turret to be added to his library. So they just built their own. But those kind of specificities that made it a real business now. Now it's important. Now the city is involved. And at that point is where the management of libraries shifted very abruptly. And they didn't just let those little ladies do it anymore. And now it was more of a male profession, at least at the management. Does that tend to still be kind of true? Yes, it does. But think about how these assorted stories from the past, things that you're going to read about today, things maybe, I encourage you to go out and read some stuff on your own. How does that help you to build a better sense of the profession now? How does that help you as you're becoming a librarian? In what that means to you? How does knowing your history, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the stuff that we could do better, the stuff that hopefully helps us inform our future, how does that inform you and your professional development? I don't know. It's going to be for you to decide. You are going to be the librarian. So I'm excited to see what you come up with. So anyway, long story short, library profession, good stuff, bad stuff. But I hope that you take some ideas about the history of librarianship and move forward and continue to build us into the better profession that I know that we can be, and I very much want us to be. So, all right, look down below here at all this material for this week. There's a lot to work through. Get going on that. Don't wait till the end. You don't want to miss anything. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.